Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to our 18th session. Our speaker for today is Miss Girlie Lugo. We all know her. She's the account executive from Digital Print Center. And today she will teach us about Excel 101.
Alright, so today I will try to share with everyone some basics on Excel that could help us in our day-to-day office requirements. So for this session, we have three parts: the terminology, the must-know, and some tips, tricks, and cheats. So to begin with, disclaimer first. So as mentioned, the person presenting this session is not an expert on this subject. That's me. What you are about to observe is based on the presenter's basic knowledge and may at times be deemed incorrect and can be corrected at any time. Any question left unanswered shall be treated as the presenter's assignment, and answers shall be submitted via email. If I still do not have the answer, we'll try to figure it out still. So viewers' discretion is advised. So let's go to terminology. Why are we going to discuss terminology? We all know that mostly language barrier causes miscommunication. So for Excel, so that it will be easy for all of us, we don't want to say like, okay, look it up on top, on the right side, on the bottom. So at least we have some common terms in hand when we're discussing Excel. Oopsie. So first off, spreadsheet. When we say spreadsheet, at first I thought that spreadsheet is like the small boxes, but spreadsheet is the entire Excel. It's the program itself. We call it spreadsheet. Second off is the worksheet. When we hear worksheet, it's this part. Okay? So this part is the entire worksheet. Now we have the sheet or the worksheet tab. The worksheet tab is the one at the bottom. So it could be 3, 4, 5, and you can always rename, color it, add, or delete worksheet. It depends on your requirement. Next off, we have the row. So this is the row. It's labeled by number. And then we have the column. The columns, on the other hand, are labeled by letters. So don't mix it up. When we say column, it's the one on top going down. It's the horizontal line there on top. And then the row is the vertical one on your left side. Next, we have the ribbon. So instead of saying it's on the top part, find it there. On the top part, you will find it. This is the ribbon. Okay, we call it the Excel ribbon. And of course, since there's a ribbon, we need to have a ribbon tab because it's not just like one tab. There's a lot. There's home, insert, page layout, and each tab contains different functions inside. Later, we will try to check it out. And then we have the name box. This is the name box. It identifies which row, column, and row you are pointing at. Now, if you are selecting like a range or couple of cells, it will tell you how many column or how many row you have selected. Formula bar, on the other hand, is this part. Here, when you're pointed at a certain cell, it will show you what that cell contains. For example, if you're pointed at a cell where it contains formula, you will see the formula in this formula bar. If you are pointed to a certain cell which contains, let's say, a string, character, or an entry, you will see that entry in that same formula. You can do edits in that formula bar as well. Next is the active cell. The active cell we call is the cell that is currently where the cursor is pointed at, or where you are going to insert the entry, the data. Next is the range of cell. So as I've mentioned earlier, range of cell is a collective cells that you have selected or you have highlighted. So far, these are the terminologies that I find important for us to know during this session. So I hope you have somehow remembered some of it, if not all. So let's go to the next content, the must know. So here we're going to do some actual Excel things. We'll play around and we'll try to learn together. Okay, so for the must know, first let us play with our worksheet. We can always play. So this is our worksheet, as I've mentioned before. You see these gray lines. Okay, these gray lines, we call it grid lines. Now, how do we get rid of it? Some of us, we try to fill with white. We try to fill it with white. Now it's gone. But that's not the proper way. So let me remove the fill. The grid lines are there merely as just a guide. Now, when you're printing, these grid lines will not show unless you put a border. So how do we get rid of the grid lines? To get rid of the grid lines, you go to the View Ribbon tab. And under View Ribbon tab, you will find grid lines. Uncheck it, and the grid lines will disappear. So if you need it, if you want it as a reference, as a guide, just check it. But some prefer to work on an empty space. Okay, so you only lose the grid lines, but you still have your cell here. Okay, so that's the grid line. Now, since we get rid of the grid lines, let us put some borders. So let's go back to the Home Ribbon tab. Take note that borders can be found in the Home Ribbon tab, this part, this one, to put a border, or you can also do right click. For example, if we want to create a table, this part, if I want to create a table, I can use this shortcut of putting a border, and I can select all borders or outside border. So if all borders, it will give me this result. Same manner, I can create this border from the format cells. Right click, format cells, and then it just takes a little time to open. Okay, format cells, and you have here the border. You can select what type of border you want to use. Dash, dotted, double line, thick line, and then just click. For example, I want the double line. Click the outline and then the inside line, and I have a table with double lines. Okay, so this is how we play with Excel. Now, it's too boring, it's plain, it's very white. So let's color it up using the fill, but not white. We fill it with different colors. Okay, some of us uses this so that the report doesn't seem boring, so that it's a little nice with the eyes. You see a lot of colors. So when you're filling, you just click, drag, and highlight. And filling, these are the available colors, but you still have more colors here. You can select whichever you want. You can color whatever you want. All right, so this is color filling. Next is the introduction of, just now, of column and the row. The column and the row has a default height and width. For the row, you have a default height of 14.4. So if you click here, do the right click, it will show you row height. You can always adjust. Either you enter a specific height to adjust it. For example, let's put 20. So it will be thicker. Or you can simply drag. When you see this symbol, I don't know how it's called, but it's like a cross with an arrow. You just hold click and then drag down. So you will increase the height of your row. Same manner with your column. Either you right click, you change through here, column width, or you click here. Once you saw that cross, drag. You were able to adjust your column and your row width and height. Now, if I have a table and I have here the heading and another here the list, for example, it's a long list going down and going to the right. If I'm going to move, but I still want to see the heading, the title here. So let's put here, let's say I have here the title. Okay, and then here list of names. So I have, let's say, random. For example, I want to keep this top and this right portion, but I'm typing at the far end to the right. So when I'm going there, I'm losing it. And when the same thing, when I'm going down, I'm losing the top part. So how do we keep it steady? Like it's not going to move at all. We use the freeze pane function. The freeze pane function can be found at the view. Okay, the view ribbon tab. And there you will see freeze pane. Just click the drop down arrow and then select freeze pane. And then it will freeze. From the word freeze, it will not move. Or there's a shortcut. Press Alt W, and then F, and then select the freeze pane, enter. Okay, so this is a shortcut, Alt W F. I am fond of using shortcuts. Why? Because what if suddenly the mouse pad or the mouse does not work? At least I have my ways through the computer using the keyboard. Okay, so this is the shortcut, Alt W F. Now how? Freezing, you stop the top and the left. Take note, wherever you point your active cell, the one to the left and the one on top of it will not move. So if I click here, this one will not move and this one, top and left. So let's try. And I'll use this view, freeze pane, select. You will see now a line showing, because if I go up, the heading will stay. And if I go far to the right, my leftmost column will stay, so that it will be easy for me. For example, it's a list of names and you wanted to see some details related to that person to the far right, it will be easy for you to identify it because your pane is freeze, it will not move. Okay. Next, we have the merge cell. So merge cell, usually we use it if you feel like a certain points that you're making has to be combined and then it has one description. For example, if first three has one single description, instead of putting it repeatedly, you can just highlight the three cells, and then from the home page you will see merge. The three cells will be combined into one cell. Okay, now once you combine, take note that automatically the justification will be at the middle and at the bottom. Okay, so meaning if I type, the content will be here at the bottom but in the middle. Okay, now if I want it to appear at the center of the box, this is the justification which pertains to the vertical alignment, and this is for the horizontal alignment. So this one is the center. So if I select this and I click this, it will go to the center. This is the justification functions. So next, we go to the wrap text. If, for example, this one has a lot of content inside, normally what will happen, this one, if I'm going to type a long text, this is how it will show. So either you drag this to make it inside the box, or you wrap text so that it will be inside the box. Okay. So last one to play with the second to the last to play with with Excel is the hide button, the hide function. Sorry. So if there are like things, either it's confidential or you don't want to share it, you can always hide that cell. But take note that when you hide a cell, be careful when you're doing the other functions, because a hidden cell does not make it free from the other functions. Meaning, if for example, you do some formulas, you add, whatever is hidden is included in the summation if you select the entire row or the entire column. Okay? So if I hide a column, for example, I want to hide this orange part. I'll unfreeze first because you might think that it's just there somewhere. Okay, I want to hide this orange part. Highlight the column heading, right click, and then select hide. It will be kept. So you will notice that your column heading will be A, B, D because the column C is hidden. Same with the row. If I want to hide row number 9, right click, hide. All right? Okay. So make sure that if you're going to do some formulas, you check first if there's something hidden because it will not give you the correct result if something is hidden and you're not aware of it. Okay? So how do we unhide? Just highlight, for example, for the column, highlight the column next to the hidden column. In this sample, we've hidden column C. So you highlight B and D, right click and hide. It will reappear. The same with row 9, highlight 8 and 10, right click and hide. Or fastest, click here, click and hide. Everything hidden will be unhidden. Okay, so last but not the least in playing, please take note that every cell can contain different types of entry. It could be a text, it could be numbers, it could be date. Now, what's the difference? If, for example, your entry is a number or pertains to a price, for example, 200. Okay, right now this is just a number, 200. But normally if it's price, it should have period and at least 2 decimal places after it. How do we change it? Right click, format cells, number, and then either the currency or the accounting. I prefer the accounting, okay? And then for the symbol, either none or you can put a specific symbol, let's say Qatari riyals. There, okay? So with this, with accounting type of number, even if the column becomes large or is the width is longer, all the currency will be kept at the left part and the numbers at the right. At least you have a good alignment. So that's how you adjust the type of entry you have. Just right click, you have the format cell, and then select from the categories. Okay? If you select text, take note, even if it's a number, it will be treated as a text. So enough with the playing, let's go to the basics. Okay, so for the basics, I wanted to share with you a table wherein we will try to test how it's done, the basics. Now, inserting a column, why I did not do it in the play with your worksheet, because it's best tested here with the table. If I want to insert a column, an entire column, in between one of the entries, just click on your row and then right click insert. That's to insert an entire row. Also, there's another technique wherein, let's delete, same, highlight it and then right click delete. Now another shortcut would be Alt I R and Alt I C. So Alt I R is to insert an entire row using your keyboard. Alt I C is to insert a column using your keyboard. For example, I want to insert here an entire row. Alt I R using the keyboard. And then I want to insert a column using the keyboard Alt I C. Okay, so these are shortcuts for those who wish to make it fast. Instead of clicking right click, just press Alt-IR, Alt-IC, you will be able to insert. Now, how do I delete this inserted columns? Using your keyboard as well, Alt-ED-R to delete a row, Alt-EDC to delete a column from your keyboard. Let's try. I want to delete this inserted column, Alt-ED-R, entire row, and then press enter. It will be deleted. The column, Alt-EDC, enter, it will be deleted. So these are merely shortcuts from the keyboard for those who are faster using the keyboards, okay? And then the copy paste. Copy paste, on the other hand, we are all familiar with this. We are all fond of using Control C and then Control V. Now for copy paste, if there is something that I want to copy, for example, I want to copy this one, I just go home and then press copy or Control C and then put it where I want to paste it and then paste. If I paste, normally it will paste everything. When you say everything, everything means including the format of the cell. What is the format of the cell? If this part is highlighted and I copied it, even the highlight or the cell fill will be copied, including the border. Now, what if I don't want to copy the border or the fill? Okay, sample. This is color field. If I copy this and then paste it here, this is how it looks. Now, if I copy this, let's use this. Wait. So again, this one, copy. And then if I paste it, but I will paste only the value, only the content, not the color, not the lines, I will choose, select, paste values, so special values. So when you paste it, it will not copy the color, it will not copy the lines. This is most effective when you are copying formulas, but you wanted to copy the result, not the formula itself. So you paste the values. For example, here, we will go to the summation. First, let's freeze the pane. And then here, how do we do the calculation? The formula will be equal sum, open parentheses, and then just highlight the range that you wanted to calculate. So that's the sum. Now take note that there's another one that is much useful and much recommended, which is the subtotal. So this is for the sum, and this is for the subtotal. How do we use the subtotal? Equals subtotal, open parentheses, and then you select 9, the sum. It's a code, and then comma, and then highlight the range. What's the difference? In order to show you, I will jump a little. If this is filtered, I was supposed to discuss later the filter. So I will filter this one. For example, this is filtered and I want to see all the sales. Right now, it's showing me the total sales. If I want to see only the sales of sales 5, from the filter drop-down button, I will unselect everyone and select only the sales that I want to see the sales. So it's sales 5. Okay, you will see the sum is still the total of everyone, while the subtotal is showing you only the total for the selected sales. So that's the use of subtotal. So right now, sales 5 has a total sales of 3,367. But overall total is 136 still. So what if I wanted to see the total of sales 3? Just select sales 3 and you will get the total of sales 3. So that's the difference between sum and subtotal. Okay. Next off, another tip in formulating is the use of dollar sign. Okay, for example, I think I have here, where is it? No, later, sorry. It's in the tips, tricks, and cheats. So, what else do we have? So the filter, again, it's found under data and this little funnel here. That's the filter. Okay? And the sort, on the other hand, so just highlight the entire table. You will find sort under home here at the far right of the ribbon, and then custom sort. If, for example, you want to sort this table, you want all sales want to go together. You want to sort it by sales, like all sales 1, sales 2, sales 3, and so on and so forth. So we're going to sort it by sales. Click sales. And then okay. So that's how you sort. Make sure that you have a header because it's easier if there's a header. That's custom sort. So, and also make sure when you're sorting, select the entire table. Do not leave any column or row behind because it will not sort perfectly. It will be like messed up. The table will be messed up. The data will be rearranged if it's not perfectly selected. Okay, so I think I thought I'm with the tip, tricks, and cheats already. Sorry. So let's go back. That's it for the must know. Those are the basics that I think we need to know when we're doing or when we're using Excel. So last up, some tips. Okay, some tips. So here, I've already shown earlier how we use the sum and the subtotal, right? So I'm not going to repeat it anymore. We'll jump with the use of the dollar sign, as I've mentioned. So how do we use dollar sign? I have here a small table, assuming that we wanted to do pricing. So here, we're going to calculate the price. So we're going to do calculation. For example, we wanted to put a certain percentage. So we use equal sign, we select the rate, and then we multiply it by the percentage that we want to put. If we want to put 40%, that would be times 1.4. Okay? Why 1.4? Because 40% in decimal is 0.40. And then whenever we wanted to add to the price in order to reduce or to shorten the calculation, we automatically add 1 to the percentage, and then that's when we multiply it to the number, so it gives us the suggested result immediately. Okay, so the suggested price for this with 40% interest will be 140. Now we can do it for everything, for all of it. Copy this, and then you just paste it going down. Okay? But what if we wanted to change it? So what's the easiest way? Is it changing this, copying there? So the easiest way will be, let's put the percentage on top. For example, we want to put 40%, and then equal sign, multiply this by that one, select the column Y and column Y row 1 for the percentage, and you will have your result. Now, if I copy this going down, it will not give me the exact result. Why? Because the selection of column Y row 1 is moving. How do I stop it? Using the dollar sign. So if I use dollar sign to stop from moving the selection of column Y row 1, I put dollar sign before the letter Y, and I put dollar sign before the number 1. So when I copy it, copy, paste. Automatically, all the numbers here to the left will calculate by 40%. Why do I suggest this way? So that if suddenly you want to change the percentage, you can just change from top. I want to make it 1.3, 30%. So just change it. 1.3, everything will be changed automatically. So these are some shortcuts, some tips on how to make it fast. Especially if you're too lazy like me to edit one by one the entry or the calculation. Okay? So for example, they said, okay, increase it, make it 50%. Oh, this is the price for the 50%. Or what if suddenly someone called you? How much will it be if it's 20%? Okay, wait a minute. Oh, for 20%, it's 120. If you're not that bright, like your mind can calculate. Okay, so you just change the percentage from top, automatically everything will change. Okay, so that's the use of dollar sign, and that's why I recommended this kind of formulating. It will be fast. So another tip in Excel will be how to add text. Take note that addition is not only for numbers. We can add text as well. So how to add text? Here. Unhide. Okay. I have here a sample of quotation wherein the description is separated in 4 rows. Oh, sorry, 4 columns. Now, if I want to combine the text in one cell, there is one formula that we can use instead of, okay, let's try the slow-mo part. The slowest way of combining this text is retyping. And I don't want to do that. As I mentioned, I'm a bit lazy at times. So retyping everything will take me too long. But what if I don't have enough time to do it? What if I have something else that I have to rush? So the fastest way to combine this into one cell is the use of concatenate. So some of you may say that it's not anymore basic. It's not anymore basic, but it's a tip. Let's add the text together instead of typing or copying. So equal, just type concatenate, open parentheses, and then select the text, separate by comma, and then put a space. How do we put a space? Double quote, space, and then double quote, separate by comma, select the second text, separate by comma, double quote, space, double quote, separate again by comma. The third text, comma, and then put a space, comma, and then the last text. So now you have the entire text in one cell, combined. Okay? Your dilemma of retyping each and every line is solved using concatenate. So concatenate is to combine text. Okay? So apply it for the rest of the lines. Just copy the formula, paste. You have it already all combined. But this is not yet done because if I copy this and paste it to another template, I'm copying, as you can see in the formula. Now copying the formula, if there's nothing next to it, it will not give you the result. So what if you wanted to copy the value, as I've mentioned earlier? Let's copy 3 lines and then paste values. You'll be able to copy the text. And it will give you the values, not the formula. Okay? So that's concatenate. Another tip is for the case sensitivity. So case sensitivity, for example, you've received a quotation or something that's all in small letters, and you wanted to change it into big letters or uppercase. So just type upper, open parentheses, take the text, close, and it will be converted to all capital letter. So that's the use of upper. On the other hand, if you want to put it back to the lowercase, use lower, select the text, and then it will go back to the lowercase. Now for proper nouns like digital print center, it should be encoded like every first letter in capital letter. So this formula can be used for proper nouns only. The formula proper. If you select a proper noun, all the first letter will be capitalized. Capital and then small case. So that's the use of proper for proper nouns. Okay? So what else? Conditional formatting. Do I still have time? Okay, sorry. Conditional formatting, on the other hand, let's go back to the table. If, for example, I have this table again, and I wanted to make sure that I do not have a duplicated quotation number. So how do I check? I highlight the entire row, column. I can click from the top, and then from Home, ribbon tab, you select conditional formatting, drop down arrow, and then the highlight cell rules, and you select duplicate values. Once you select it, if there is a duplicated value, it will be highlighted. In this sample, there's no duplicated value. So let's make a duplicated value. For example, I have a duplicated value here. It will automatically be highlighted. So if you're doing some monitoring, some recording, you will know if you've already recorded it using the conditional formatting duplicate values. Okay, so it will be easy for you to know if you've already encoded it or not. That's conditional formatting. Okay, another tip will be, oops, sorry. Another tip will be what's this? The data validation. So data validation can be found under data, and then you will see on the ribbon tab, on the ribbon, data validation. So how is it used? We use data validation if, for example, we want a particular status to be encoded and nothing else. For example, we have here a status column, and we only want 3 or 4, or let's say yes or no. Yes or no answer only. Okay? Because some might put something else rather besides yes or no. So what do? We highlight this entire column, and then from the ribbon, we select data validation drop down, select data validation, and from the data validation, you will see that it's allowed any value. So since we want to restrict the column with a certain reply, we select from here list, and then take the source from the list that you've made, go back, click OK. So now here, you will not be able to put any inputs aside from yes or no. Okay? So if you try, for example, there's something that you have to reply yes or no, and you say maybe, it will not accept. Okay? It will only accept yes. You can type yes, no, or you can select it from the drop-down arrow. That's data validation. Okay? Second to the last tip would be, I hope this one will be useful to everyone. Alt-Enter. Okay. If I have a text, the quick brown fox. Okay. this is how it goes. This is how it will show when you enter it. If I want each word on the next line, most of us will do a lot of spacing until it goes down. We do wrap text. This is how most of us will do it. Okay? And then we'll do another enter until the text goes down. I'm pretty sure most of us are doing this. Okay, now every word is on the next line. But using Alt-Enter, okay, Alt-Enter can let you go down the next line inside one cell. The Alt-Enter, Alt-Enter, so Alt-Enter will let you go down next line inside one cell. Okay? So this is perfect when making quotations and you want the description line by line in one cell instead of putting it different cell. Last one, take note that in Excel, code symbols are available. Okay? Since in Excel there's no really bullet, so you can use this one, code symbols, in encoding. How do we use it? The code symbol can be used using your numeric keypad. Take note, only numeric keypad, not the numbers on top of the letters. For example, I want to type a heart. I press Alt 3. That's a heart. Okay? And these special alt characters or symbols are available with Google. You just ask Google for the list and it'll give you the codes that you want. Okay? Whatever I miss, Google will help you. Okay. As a bonus, one time I was asked by someone on how to protect a sheet. So I just wanted to share this as a bonus for everyone. By default, our worksheet is protected, is locked. How do we know it? When you right-click, Format Cells, Protection, you will see that lock is checked, meaning each cell is locked by default. So if you wanted to protect this part alone, only this part, like you don't want anyone to touch it when you send the file, but they can touch the rest and they can input on other cell, right-click, click on top, select all the cells, right-click, Format Cells, and uncheck the lock. Then press OK. Now, all the cells are unlocked. Since only this highlighted part is what you don't want to be touched, right-click, Format Cells, Lock. So lock only the part that you don't want to be touched. And then, to protect, from the tab, right-click, Protect Sheet. You just put a password, but unselect lock cells because you don't want them to select at all on your lock cells. They won't be able to even click on it. But if you want them to click on it but just not make any changes, just keep this as it is. But if you don't want them to even point to that part, uncheck the lock cells and then enter a code, press enter, and then another code. Now your cell is protected. How do you know? The unlocked cells, I can type on it, I can select it, but this yellow part, I cannot. No matter how, see, it's jumping from it. You cannot select it. So that's how you protect your cell. And also take note, once you've hidden something, once it's protected, they cannot unhide. You cannot unhide even. See, the right-click button, when you right-click it, all the other functions are disabled because the cell or the worksheet is protected. Okay, so I guess that's it. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've picked up a few tips or tricks and some cheats from what I've discussed. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. So Lou, for your question, first, she's asking how to. Can I share my screen again? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Just for Lourdes' question, she asked how to. What's that again? For example, she has a record of contract list, and then there's a starting date and an end date. And then on a daily basis, she wanted to know how many months she has left. We can formulate date. I mean, we can add or subtract date to count the number of days. So normally, once you subtract dates, it gives you the number of days. Or when you add dates, it gives you the number of days, not the number of months. So how do we get the month? Simply divide it by the number of days in a month, and you get the month. So yesterday when I was trying to share it, it just looks complicated, but it's really not. First off, if you want to know on a day-to-day basis how many months you have left, for example, your start date, let's say January 15 of January 2020, and then your end date is, let's say, April 15th April of 2021. So how many days do we have between these dates? Simply subtract the end date with the beginning date. So you have 456 days. How many months? Divide 456 by 30, assuming 30 days. There's a decimal. Now, yesterday, I gave Lourdes a formula where there is round. Why do we need to use round? So that it will not give you a decimal, because months does not have a decimal. Okay, so you just put round, and then, sorry, this is a bit complicated already. It's formula. So you just put round, and then parentheses, a lot of groupings, and that put 0. So this is the formula to divide the number of days by number of days per month, and then the 0 pertains to the decimal. We don't want any decimal, so we put 0. So here we have 15 months from January to April. Now, the question of Lourdes was current date. So first, you have to put the current date. How do you put the current date? Equals today, open and close parentheses, will give you the current date. If I save this file, I close it, and I open it tomorrow, this date, even without changing, will automatically give you the date of that day. Okay, so it's equal today, open and close parentheses. And then you apply that formula here. Here. So instead of subtracting the end date from the beginning date, you subtract the end date by the current date. So we change what we're selecting. Now we're going to select row 44, the current date. So you have 238 days left, or 8 months before the expiration date. So this is the answer to Lourdes' question.